Hello, my name is David, and on July 20th, 2018, I released my animated short film called Children's Toys. This video will cover my creative process, the art, the themes, and so on. Right after this slice of nonsense.
Bow wow wow. Bow wow wow. I'm gonna get you as well.
This animation is a sequel/spin-off to two previous animations I've done, Being Pretty and No Monsters. It's been a long time coming, and I'm finally back in Autodale and I'm really enjoying it. This animation is the first of three I have planned. I'd like to clarify off the bat that they really won't be connected at all. It's just three short films set in the universe, three wildly different, random stories that I wanted to tell. When brainstorming ideas for these three shorts, I drew this piece of concept art. I don't like this drawing, it's messy, rushed and meh, but the idea is there. A little girl presenting her toy robot to a handyman, under a lamppost of warm colour. Everything the lamppost doesn't touch is grey and broken and dystopian. But not under the lamppost, not with the waving robot, under an umbrella of blissful ignorance. Imagination and manipulation. It was these kinds of themes that I wanted to bring forward. This story is of a girl. With an overactive imagination, she imagines the good, her parents, playing and being pretty, but she also imagines unspeakable horrors, the bad, great and terrible things. This short is about the manipulation of imagination.
Toys. Such imaginative and wondrous things.
Children's toys fascinate me. I've always found them extremely manipulative and influencing. Maybe I'm just cynical, but everything around a child, their environment, be it movies and especially something as mentally stimulating as a toy, will shape your child into the person they'll become. And there's something inherently terrifying about that. Your kid's favourite toy is going to shape the adult they'll become. I want you to think of the toys you grew up with and the person you are now. For a child to grow up in Autodale, their favourite toy being a handyman doll, an authoritative figure that they look up to and respect, that will shape the person that kid becomes. It'll spark their imagination in ways that Autodale wants and help shape them into the compliant individuals that Autodale needs. Because of the influence of these things, kids' toys, after writing this particular short film and beginning production, I felt I should probably buy some kind of kids' toy for myself. You know, for research. I own toys. Kind of. But my collection of Godzillas and Xenomorphs and dinosaurs feel more like statues and figurines over genuine kids' toys. I went out and bought this, the Thrash and Throw Tyrannosaurus Rex from Mattel. It's from the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line. I'm a big fan of the Jurassic franchise, the books, the games, the movies, the good and the bad. Again, I watched the films and had the toys as a kid, and now I'm a dino-crazed man-child of an adult. That's my point. But the toy I fell in love with, of course I did. I had nowhere to put it, so I kept it around my workstation while I animated. I found myself playing with this thing a lot while working on this animation. It reminded me of being a kid. I liked this dinosaur so much, I went out and bought another. And then another. And then way too many. Did I mention your childhood toys can influence you? I'm sorry, I got off topic. Or did I? These toys affected this animation in many subtle ways. Things like the Handyman doll's features were taken directly from the Dino toys I bought, the Baryonyx having an action feature in 5 different roars. The sound effects used for the Handyman doll were in fact recorded straight from these toys. The action feature, general ambient rattling and so on were recorded straight from the toys I bought. And finally, the girl playing with the doll, making him bob up and down to the words of the commercial, wasn't originally in the short at all, but it was something I added later because it was something I found myself doing, over and over again after long days of animating.
For your little boys and your little girls.
Your doll comes complete with a friendly action feature. Like this! Rah!
Visually, I didn't stray too far away from what has already been established, and because of this, I really didn't see the need to produce much art for this short. The toy needed designing, and so did the girl, but nearly everything else is stuff we've already seen. There are a lot of visual callbacks, the kid watching the commercial is very similar to the original being pretty short, and there's just generally a whole lot of visual symmetry across the entire series. I wanted this whole short to be set at night time, and I wanted to play around with the lighting. I went out at night on my weekly toad watch and photographed some lampposts. I found that a singular light source, one lamppost as opposed to a collection of light sources, in an otherwise dark image, seemed to look the most dramatic, and that's what I stuck with. Throughout the short, it's often in the dark with a single light source, be it a window, the TV, or the lamppost. The whole short is set at night, so it's visually darker, with one singular visual focal point, highlighted. This really is lighting and cinematography 101, I know, but I enjoyed playing with a consistently simpler lighting scheme nevertheless, and I think it was very effective. This finished image here, of a little girl presenting her toy robot to a waving handyman, under one umbrella of light in a sea of darkness, was the genesis of the whole short film. It goes all the way back to the original drawing, which ultimately became more influential than I ever imagined. This short is about manipulation. This story is a back and forth between imagination and manipulation, a little girl and a robot. A little girl with an overactive imagination is able to see through the cracks of Autodale's friendly facade and see the town for what it truly is. She can do this through her inherent imagination, freedom and individualism, being a kid. Every child is presumably like this, and Autodale tries to do their best through TV, toys and so on to not quite suppress a child's imagination but channel it. That child's favourite toy is a handyman action figure, for it is heavily advertised and therefore influencing her thinking. A handyman, an authoritative figure that she looks up to and respects. That toy will shape the kind of adult she'll become, and in ways that Autodale wants. Autodale is using her imagination against her, manipulating it into what they want. Of course, being a kid, she is still capable of seeing through the cracks and imagines horrors like the matriarch and the uglies and the freaks. The handyman wants to manipulate the little girl into thinking that all the horrors of Autodale are in her head, and he uses things like her love of the commercial and the toy to gain ground doing so.
Toys. Such imaginative and wondrous things.
The horrors of Autodale are not real. The little girl is picturing the matriarch, the uglies, the freaks, things she couldn't possibly have ever seen. Of course they're all in her head. Perhaps they're not real, and the visual manifestations of these things are just biomechanical exaggerations of the girl's mind. The town is not right, it's still a dystopia with a monstrous government and a terrifyingly calculating system, but the exact specifics of a giant cybernetic woman and prowling monsters may just be exaggerations, or metaphors of a monstrous government and unwelcome outsiders. The series has always gone for symbolism and metaphor of the physical and real. The matriarch can either be taken literally as a giant cybernetic biomechanical woman that controls the town, or metaphorically as simply a monstrous ruling force. Perhaps it is all in the girl's imagination. It's not, of course, but that's what they and I wanted you to think. Let me ask you something, by showing details like the matriarch and the freaks and the uglies and going on this whole rant, did I make you believe for even 1 second that that handyman could have been right? I hope so. Because this short was about manipulation. Bye, guys.